Hello and welcome to RoboMonk Art and Tarot. I am RoboMonk. Today we are seeing how will your time shift affect your life. What is a time shift? A time shift is an action or event that happens to you or you decide, and it's a major point in your life. And this will put you on a path that you can't go back from. So a shift in time is really where you are kind of breaking off from a different timeline into a new one. And this can be a huge moment of change and opportunity and positivity. It does not have to be a negative moment for you. And we're going to see how Spirit is going to help you and how you can help yourself make that a positive change. So this is a pick a card, but as always, I want to say thank you so much for being here with me today. I always appreciate your presence here, making this a positive community. So let's get to the pile, see what's happening, and see which one resonates with you. All right, I'll see you there. In pile 1, we have the Moonstone. In pile 2, we have Black Obsidian. And in pile 3, we have Green Aventurine. So take a moment to see what resonates with you, and we'll get started. Hello, pile 1. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Today, we are exploring how this timeline shift is going to affect your life. Spirit is coming in and saying that you are about to or have just had a timeline shift. It's very easy to have this happen where you had a big decision or are going to have a big decision that's going to change your life. And there are some things that happen in a timeline shift where you have to decide something and there's no real going back in this lifetime. So it will affect your life moving forward. There will be other timeline shifts from here on out. Some are small, some are larger. This just seemed to be one to concentrate on for you. So we have 6 cards here in front of us. We're going to see what this particular timeline shift is really doing for you and what is happening. The first image that I see is one of you in shadow. Inside, there is this small light, but it is not shining quite brightly as of now. There is a lot of light around you that's happening, but I don't feel like it's actually being absorbed by you. You may be thinking about things internally. I really think a good way to describe this feeling is if you are feeling sad or depressed and it's a very sunny day out. So that's not necessarily saying that you are sad and depressed right now, but you're definitely thinking about internal happenings, right? So your shadow work, what's happening inside of you, what are you concentrating on emotionally and spiritually. You're doing a lot of shadow work. So there's a lot of happiness or brightness around you that you are unaware of right now because you are concentrating a lot on what is happening inside of you. And that's not a bad thing. That is something that we all have to do. So doing your shadow work is part of being a healthy human here and a healthy soul in the spirit world. The second image I see is one of a brush going back and forth and really cleaning things around you. And it's going to be more of an internal cleansing. I think you are really seeing what is working for you now and what might be working for you in the future. And this is wonderful. So this timeline shift, whatever has happened, has turned you from all action and looking outward to a flip into looking inward. Whatever has happened, whatever this decision or this shift that happened has really made you think about things moving forward, but rather than going outward for the answers, you are going inward. You are looking to spirit inward. You are looking inward for your emotional response to it. And I think this was something that happened on this 3D Earth plane that was a pretty large event. It had major consequences on you, and you have a huge time shift now where you could have gone one way, but you decided to go another. And on this other path, you are now looking inward to seeing what's actually working for you, what is going to benefit you in the future. And in this third card, it's an interesting image altogether. I see a skull, okay? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just is what it is. And when this skull turns around, I see a little mouse on the other side. And these two symbols together are quite interesting. So the mouse stands out to me right away, and it's all about discovering new opportunities. And there's even a little folklore about a mouse that they can show you or be a bridge to your next reality, a bridge to your next timeline. And there's going to be something there that leads you from this internal cycle, this shadow work cycle, to your next action cycle. And it's going to be in a form that may be tiny. It may be something that seems insignificant now, but after you follow it, it's going to lead you to a huge revelation and put you back into that action cycle. And also with this skull here, it's all about mental healing and thinking creatively. And also the mouse and the skull together, it's all about creative thinking. It's all about seeing things that others cannot see, new opportunities that you may not have seen before, and then finding a way, finding that reality or that timeline where these all exist, and then going for it. So once you know what it is that you are looking for, it's going to become apparent which way you are going to need to go. So the fact that you're doing shadow work now is so important because you are finding your inner compass, you are finding out what's important to you, and you're moving on, which is wonderful. The next image that I see is one of a cheetah. And as I was drawing this cheetah, it really was surprising to me how much a cheetah looks like a bear until you add the stripes. That's quite fascinating to me from an artistic standpoint. It might be for you too. But once you add the stripes, once you add all of the different decals, then the cheetah is formed. And with this, the cheetah conserves its energy. It only moves when it knows its prey is in sight. And then it is lightning quick. So with that, I think right now you are conserving your energy as you should, and you are waiting to see what is next, what is important to you, how you should move, and really just quite planning at this point. Waiting for that little mouse to show you the next reality. So I really feel like this timeline here that you've been shifted into is one of healing, one of a hiatus or a waiting point, and then you are going to shift into a different timeline that will be one of action. But it's wonderful that you are here and you can take your time. The cheetah is reminding you to take your time be absolutely 98% positive of what you're going to do next before you do it, because you don't want to make the wrong choice. And we're always afraid of that as humans, to making wrong choices. And sometimes we just have to trust in spirit and trust in ourselves that we're making the right choice. We can never be 100% sure. It's just impossible. That's part of life. But if you reflect nightly on what it is you want to do, where it is you want to go, I do believe, and Spirit is telling me, that this little mouse in some way, shape, or form is going to appear, and it's going to lead you to your next timeline. So the fact is, you have to align yourself where you want to go, and then be that cheetah, follow that mouse to your next reality, and just be sure of yourself. The fifth image I see is one of a rake, and it is raking through the soil, and I get the words preparation and meditation. So you are preparing to plant the seeds of the next season. We have growth cycles and we have waiting cycles. And you are part of the waiting cycle right now. And waiting cycles are full of amazing opportunities to just think, what is it that I want to do with my life that is left here on this 3D earth plane? I have come out of an action cycle, and I have come out of a growth cycle, and now I am here. I am in pause. I am in meditation. I am in preparation. Where do I want to put my energy next? It can be so absolutely exciting and terrifying at the same time. But to know that you are able to point the direction your life is going to go next, at least as much as you can, it's terribly exciting. It's absolutely fascinating to be in that moment and to realize it as well. So pile one, you have a really good advantage and a good connection to spirit that I see that is going to help you point yourself in the right direction in your next cycle. Ultimately, I see this time shift that you're in now is going to lead to balance and equality. Balance in your life, balance in your spirituality and emotions, because I think coming into this shift, I think you were kind of here, there, and everywhere. And that last shift has really kind of thrown you, meaning that you were out of balance. Maybe something happened to you or someone did something to you that really threw you out of balance. And now you are in cleaning mode with that toothbrush. You are in reflection, right? But eventually you're going to get to that balanced state. You're going to be able to point to your next direction and move with ferocity. So there's a lot of strength here, even though coming into this time shift you may not be feeling that strength. There is a lot of strength to be gained in this shift, and it's not to be rushed. However long it takes, it takes. And that is something that we have to learn as humans, because sometimes we're in a rush and we want to get things done and move on. But this time it's going to take some time to sort through everything and get things exactly right. All right, pile one, I hope this resonated with you. I hope this brings you some clarity about what's happening or what's going to happen in the near future for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I want to thank Spirit for being here with us today too. Know that you're loved, know that you're blessed, and I'll see you next time. Hello, Pile 2. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Today, we are seeing how will your timeline shift affect your life. There are different points in our lives where we make one decision rather than the other. That really creates a timeline shift. Sometimes we choose it, sometimes it just happens to us, and there's a shift happening now to you that Spirit wants you to know about, and it has a message for you. So we're going to look into that in more detail about what's going on and what you can do about it, what's in your control, and how Spirit's going to help you through this, and where you're eventually going to end up. We have 6 cards here in front of us, so let's get started. I'm going to channel different images from Spirit and draw them out, and we'll interpret them together. So the first image was quite jarring because it was of a bee coming in and stinging you. Now that's a great way to start off a reading, isn't it? It was kind of dramatic for me and I didn't really expect it, but this is a wake-up call for you. This is something that will be very monumental in your life. It's something that is going to put you into an action cycle, a growth cycle. So hopefully you have been prepared or preparing in your last cycle, in your waiting cycle, to really be able to wake up now and be called to action. Because something is going to come in and say, wake up really quickly, just like a bee sting. You know it's there. You are feeling it. You know you need to do something about it, right? But the fact that it's a bee is very interesting to me, because a bee can be symbolic of so many different things in our lives. But what stood out to me is the fact that a bee represents co-creation. It represents interconnectedness. It represents structured creativity and really gaining a lot of control over your life and co-creating with everyone. Now, doesn't that sound amazing? That sounds really cool to me. So you are awakening into a period of co-creation with others around you, with yourselves, with Spirit. There's going to be a lot happening, and it seems like there's going to be a huge wake-up call for you, and you're going to have to get to it. Get on that action cycle and go. The next image I see is one of a feminine energy that has their eyes closed. They have roses as a crown, pink roses, and I get the words divine feminine, creativity, and openness. So the fact that this bee is coming in and calling you to co-create with others around you, the fact that this is a divine feminine, you are creative and open to what the universe has to offer, is going to be a wonderful way to welcome all of this action coming in. So the fact that you have been possibly in a waiting or dormant cycle and you are being woken up to move, perhaps you have a particular focus, or perhaps you are open now to finding that focus. There are both ways that can happen. And I always want to state that divine feminine and divine masculine is not about gender. So it's not about any gender. It's about our energies. So we all have divine masculine. We all have divine feminine. So don't think if you're one gender or another that you don't have divine feminine. We all do. It's a state of being. So it's a state of creativity and openness and giving life, right? Giving life to ideas that you have right now, or actions that you have right now. The next image that I see is one of a centrifuge. A centrifuge is something that spins very quickly. And a lot of times you'll see this in a hospital or different science laboratories where they'll put a liquid in. They'll spin it very quickly and it separates the liquids that are mixed inside of it. So sometimes they'll use this with blood, sometimes they'll use this with other liquids, and they will be able to separate out all of the different types of liquids using this centrifuge, which is fascinating in and of itself. But with this symbol here, you are separating, and I get the words separation of the unwanted. You are really saying, okay, in order to get this action done, I am clearing out all of these different things that are not working or not wanted in my life, whether they are negative people, whether they are negative actions, whether they are things that are slowing you down and are not creating a positive energy in your life. You're getting rid of all of those. But what's amazing about this is you are going to be able to actually identify them pretty easily. With this centrifuge card, you are separating them out. You can say, oh yes, that's not working for me. That's got to go. And there are different points in our lives where we have so many things around us that it's hard to discern what is good and what is bad for us, because maybe they've become habits for us or we've been so used to them in our lives. But with this centrifuge, it's going to be very apparent what is working for you and what isn't. And you can get rid of the stuff that's not working for you. So that's wonderful. That's a great benefit to the shift that you're going through. The next card I see is you taking a giant leap. With this wake-up call, you are called to action, and you are answering that call. So you are open to this creativity, you are open to getting rid of the unwanted, and now you are lighter and you can actually take this giant leap, and I get the words, a giant leap for the good of yourself and others. And it's always good to think about your actions and how they affect other people as well. To have that clarity is always going to help you out in the long run. So even though this bee sting is very quick, coming in and saying, hey, wake up, you've got to act now, the fact that you have this clarity and knowing where to go in a little bit is going to really help you get to where you want to go. And I think it's wonderful that Spirit is coming in and giving you this clarity, and you are able to respond in kind and actually create some action about it. Because when you are taking this giant leap, remember you are co-creating with others around you as well, just like that bee is. And so you want it to benefit yourself, but also others around you. So then it creates this amazing world, this 3D space around you as well and around others, so that you lift the energy. The next card, I see you sitting down and doing research methods, which is fascinating. So you're all about action, but I think you are also looking into different ways of thinking, different ways of doing things. So when you take this giant leap, there may be some action, and then you're going to be able to know what to study next, how to make things different in the next action that you do, because this is interesting to have this actually in an action cycle, to sit down and read about these different methods of how to do actions. So what this tells me is maybe you're trying something new. Maybe this bee sting is coming in and saying, okay, here we go, let's have this happen. You're open and creative, you're getting this unwanted stuff out of your life and you're just going. You're going to just on blind faith go for it, which is interesting to me. But then when you get there, you say, okay, how do I do this? And that's an amazing curiosity to have. And I think you're going to really be able to come in with that openness, that divine feminine, and really soak in that positive energy and to be able to make something that none of us have really seen before. I think it's going to be very special what you're creating and co-creating with others. The last image that I see, I get the words sensing the unknown. I see you looking behind you, and there is a light there. You are sensing the unknown. So the fact that you have taken this giant leap, it's almost like a leap of faith that you are going to this next part of your life. And now you're looking into things of how things could be better. You have arrived there and you're sensing the unknown. So there are things that others have not actually seen or do not know. And you're going to bring a light to their darkness. You are going to be that person that tells them, hey, hold up. Maybe there's a better way we can do this. Because I don't know if you've ever worked on a team before, but sometimes it's great to have a fresh perspective. You are going to be that fresh perspective and say, why is it we do it that way? And sometimes nobody knows why. And it's great to say, well, maybe we can do it this way. Maybe it's a little bit better and maybe it helps more people. And you can be that wave of change. What a huge time shift for you, Pile 2, but it's going to be amazing. And I'm really excited for you. So thank you so much for being here today. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for Spirit for being here with us today. And know that you're loved, know that you're blessed, and I'll see you next time. Hello, Pile 3. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Today, we are seeing how will your timeline shift affect your life. We all have different times in our lives that we have to make different choices, or choices are made for us that really affect our lives long term. These can be called timeline shifts, where there are different things or happenings or events that really make the difference of how our lives are going to turn out moving forward. We're going to explore one of those timeline shifts that you may be experiencing right now or are going to experience in the near future. As you can see, we have 6 cards here in front of us. Spirit has a message for you today about this current timeline shift. And so we are going to see what it is and see how you can affect it in a positive way or accept some of the different outcomes in a positive way. All right, let's get started. So the first image that I see is one of a car driving on a road, and it's a very winding road. It goes over the hills, and then all of a sudden I see the sun shift out of focus. Everything becomes dark. The moon rises up, and you can see the stars. This tells me that you are going from an action phase to a contemplation phase. So I get the words shifting from day to night, and then from action to contemplation. And that's a huge shift. That can be very different from a day-to-day perspective, going from all action to one of contemplation. And something may have happened that ended that action phase, and it's going to be very different for all of us, but it could be the ending of a job, it could be something that you completed, right, in a positive note. It could be a relationship shift where maybe this person moved away or the dynamics have changed. There's something like that too here. But it has pushed you from acting in the light as far as all action to now contemplation and acting in your shadow, doing shadow work. And it is now forced you to say, okay, how am I feeling about this? What am I doing now? What am I going to do next? And really calling out for that connection to spirit and gaining that strength to move forward. The next image I see is your shadow self, holding out the number 2. The number 2 is all about reflection. So you see yourself in the mirror. There are you in this reality and your mirror self, right? So both have a purpose, and you are looking at yourself in this mirror, and you are actually reflecting on what has just happened. And it seems to be pretty major. It's a major shift for you, and it seems that maybe you were expecting it, maybe you weren't, but the fact is things have changed and you are continuing forward, but you're not sure exactly how to do that yet. The next image that I see is one that you might see a child do on a playground. It's where you are up on the what we call monkey bars, but they're bars that look like a ladder that's propped up on 2 different poles, and usually you cross them with your arms or something like that, but you are propped up there. You are upside down, almost like the hanged man, but you are there willingly, and you are looking at the world upside down. And I get the actual words, seeing different perspectives. And you want to see different perspectives because your shadow self has handed you this time of reflection and you are taking it. And I want to applaud you for doing that, because sometimes we just want to rush to the next action cycle without taking a pause. But this is your moment of pause. This is your time shift into reflection to see where you want to go next, and you're taking advantage of it with the best way that you can. So that's wonderful. That's absolutely great. The next image that I see is something that is truly special. It's one that you might call an existential moment. An existential moment is where you are pulled out of or very aware of your surroundings and that you are not a part of it, right? So you might be looking out a window and you are seeing people passing by. And in this instance, you are actually looking at a train passing by. You are sitting down near a track and you are actually seeing this train passing by at a great speed, and you are seeing all of the different windows passing by, and you are very aware that you are not a part of this train. You are not a part of these people's lives, but you are actually fascinated to see what they are like. It's people watching, right? That's another term for it. But you are seeing what you like about these people's lives and what you might want to change for your own life. Even though this can lead to a very lonely feeling with an existential moment, it's always good to do every now and then because you want to make sure that you are living your life to its fullest. You want to make sure that you are actually accomplishing what you are meant to accomplish here down in this 3D earth plane. So the fact that you are looking into other people's lives, you are seeing how they live, how they react, what they do, and really reflect upon your life and how you live, how you react, how you do and accomplish things is very important. And that's wonderful that you're doing that. I get the words other lives, other possibilities, and you are really just seeing what else is out there. That's very healthy. It's not necessarily the case that you are jealous of anyone, but you want to compare and you want to see where your life should go next, and just taking little ideas from everyone else, right? to see what they have accomplished, what they have thought of, and what might apply to your life as well. The next image that I see is one of a sickle or a crescent moon blade. And this used to be one where you would take it and harvest at different times of the year, different plants that were ready to be harvested. And you would cut them down, and then you would have your bounty of food to eat. And it says here that it is time to harvest ideas. This is the time to collect all of those ideas that you have been thinking about, especially observing other people and how they do things, and really saying, okay, how am I going to apply this to my life to make it better? How am I going to see myself in the future? What goals do I want to accomplish in the time that I have left here? What's really important to me? So this time of reflection, this time shift into this kind of waiting period is going to be very important for you. And the fact that you are taking advantage of it is wonderful. And just really maybe make a list of these different ideas that you see, almost like field notes that a scientist would go out into the field and record all of their different notes about what's going on. You may want to do this about what's happening around you. Just to see it in black and white on a piece of paper may help you realize what is going on around you and what is going to help you. And maybe there are some things that you can get rid of as well that aren't helping you too. So this last card is very important. It kind of ties everything that you've been doing up to this point together. I see you standing confidently. I see you standing there proud. But you are a different person than what you have entered into this time shift. And it is something that is a process, something that is kind of the outcome of this reflection point. But it is very important, and Spirit wants you to know that it is very important to find this person that you want to become. Not necessarily it has to be another person that's physically here on this 3D earth plane, but who do you want to manifest yourself to be in this next time shift that's happening? How do you see yourself as you enter in this next time shift that will take you back to the action phase, right? The growth phase. So it's really important that you take advantage of this time to see who you want to become. You will still be you, but you will be a different version of you, if that makes sense. So Spirit wants you to take this time and really envision who you want to be coming up next so that you can take advantage of it. And when it hits that action phase, you can become that person and move on and accomplish even more goals that are spreading positivity to you and to others around you. It seems like a lot going on right now, even with the shadow work that you're doing here, Pile 3. This is very active shadow work, and it's something that is extremely important for us to do time to time, and now is your time to do this. And it looks like it's going to be very positive because you are rising to that occasion. You are very active in this waiting time, which seems like an oxymoron, but there's a lot to do, a lot to think about, and you want to be proud of yourself, right? Spirit is always proud of you, but you want to be proud of yourself too. So the fact that you are taking all of these different steps, maybe writing some things down on a piece of paper so that you can read through them and really see what you want to accomplish, and then becoming that person, right? Becoming that person that you've written down on that piece of paper and really just taking it to the next level. I think that's awesome. I think it's going to be a really good time shift for you, and you're not going to regret it. Whatever puts you into this moment isn't going to matter. This is the moment that matters and what's coming up next. So you can almost be thankful for whatever put you into this time shift, this moment of waiting and contemplating. But sometimes that's hard to say thank you for. Sometimes those are painful events that put us into a moment of contemplation. So I'll leave that up to you. Well, Pile 3, I do hope this brings you clarity. I hope this resonates with you. And I want to thank you for being here with us today. I want to thank Spirit for being here with us today. And know that you're loved, know that you're blessed, and I'll see you next time.